I just don't have... It's hard to say with words how hurtful. It feels like I'm suffocating. And I cried about it last night. And right now I'm just like blown away. Just doesn't feel like it could be real. That this stuff is on the internet. Everything that I've been through. And the mockery that it makes of crime survivors who have survived hate crimes. Like, it's not important that you can go to a college campus and see on the wall an advertisement where somebody is making a profit from the history of something like the Ku Klux Klan that spent decades killing and harassing people. Like, it's not a hate crime to pull off supposed pranks for a month, no matter what kind of... I mean, I am a disabled person, and I speak out all the time about prejudice against mentally ill people. If another mentally ill person, there was like tens of thousands of people gassed by Hitler. And some people say, oh, well, Hitler was mentally ill. That doesn't make it okay if he was. And I don't care if he was. And I'll tell you, minority on minority hate is just as real as any other kind of hate. Tokenism of equality is not something we need. I have smelled the blood of somebody whose life was stolen away by hate. I've seen looks on my friends' faces that used to be carefree. People that I never wanted to see hurt. I saw hurt in ways that I could understand because I had been traumatized before and I never wanted to see that happen to them. And how dare you? How dare you just... I mean, I'm sorry, but you guys are just not... What gives you the right to laugh this off? I mean... Is coming down here. God. I just don't understand this. This is... And it just says... How silence can defeat racism. It can kill people, it still does, and silence isn't right. And if people make, things that are mistakes, yeah, okay, people can make mistakes. I'm all for mistakes. I am not for the insanity defense, okay? That is a prejudice too, okay? Insanity defense of violence is a prejudice, all right? But people make mistakes. All kinds of people. Everybody makes mistakes, okay? But you make a mistake, it hurts people, it terrorizes people, it puts people at risk because you are put in a situation where people are saying just ignore the signs of hate when hate actually kills people. There's consequences for that. Just like, you know, saying there's a bomb and, you know, or, you know, threatening to blow up a building when there's no bomb. I mean, that's still consequences for that. And it's still terrorism. It's still scaring the living daylights out of people and getting amusement out of it, or whatever the heck it is, and it's wrong. It is wrong, and I mean, this person says, I suggest an experiment. See what happens if idiots can't get the rise out of us they're looking for. A finger wag, sure. Maybe a statement of condemnation on the college website. But no events, no media. Classes go on. You're just like... I mean, it's not about whether classes go on. It's about you can't ignore it sometimes. And you never know when. And it's not insanity. It's just another way people use to ignore hate groups, hate industries. And you're talking about this. I mean, have you ever heard of... You're talking about tokenism. I can't go up and tell people that because I'm mentally ill, that I can tell them that, okay, because I'm mentally ill, I would never tell somebody that, okay, you know, it's okay to just gas you. And I can say that because I'm mentally... That does not work that way. That is hate. It can be construed as a threat. And hate isn't about being the right skin color. It's not about being the right minority. It's not, equality is not about that. It is not about, well, some, you know, it's not about, okay, you know, just about blacks aren't judged, you know, like you don't judge somebody by the color of their skin because they're black. Or you don't judge somebody, you know, mental, you know, because, you know, it's the same as sane people. You don't judge people, period. You don't judge somebody by the color of their skin because you got the same color skin. And tell them what black people are like in a negative and condescending way. You don't do that with mental illness in a negative and condescending way. It's wrong. And people might not have pride. And people helped, you know, and you read history, and people betrayed each other in the civil rights movement. Some people were called Uncle Toms because they supported segregation even then. Some people in the concentration camps were put in roles where they abused other people that were their same minority groups by permission of the Nazi guards. I mean, I read about it. It is Escape from Sobibor, which is a horrible account happened to people. And being Jewish doesn't give you the right to discriminate against another Jew. Being mentally ill doesn't give you the right to discriminate another mentally ill person. Being homosexuality or whatever doesn't give you the right to tell other people what, that it's, creepy or wrong or what the hell. And people die by hatred, both by people killing other people and what's happening in the LGBT and the mental illness community, by people being bullied and killing themselves. And it doesn't need to happen. And it's wrong to hate. It's always wrong to hate. And people can make mistakes. People can feel ashamed of who they are and what they are. Because, no, I'm saying this is because there's some minorities out there saying, okay, well, what if it's, this is how strange it is. I mean, they haven't even proven that it's a minority that represents all these various minorities that they're targeting collectively that is doing this to other minorities and causing this pain to people, like, around the world. I mean, I spent last night remembering, okay? Hate's not a toy, it's a weapon. Hate is a weapon. And it hurts like hell. There's people that are coming up to my, represent, okay, well, I'm of color, or I'm of, or I'm, whatever, and Asian American, or whatever, I don't know what it is. They're like saying, oh, well, as long as it's the same, it's like, they haven't even found out who's doing this, and they're already talking about it being a hoax because it might be the same kind of person that is perpetuating this hate, that is putting all this swastikas and stuff up. And if somebody was going around and they just had a blanket and they weren't trying to, intimidate, then that's a different story. But I think that, somebody writing, LGBT faggot, whatever, on, the LGBT office is pretty obvious. I think swastikas are pretty obvious. The N-word oven, yeah, I mean, like, it's not okay to say any of this stuff. It is not okay to bully people because of their sexuality, their mentality, to profile people because they're minorities, even if you are that minority. Hate is killing everybody. I mean, it can kill yourself. And I just hope that people can have some pride. And as for this lady in the news that, supposedly is a celebrity and knows Obama or whatever, I don't watch much TV, but tell Obama to tell the FBI that this is hate. Yeah. No doubt about it, this is hate. And if somebody is sorry, and wants to rectify the situation and can prove they're not a threat, that's great. Okay? I don't want the world to hate each other and themselves forever. Okay? You gotta change. Hate. Sometimes you can hate yourself. God, I hated myself for a while. I tried to commit suicide sometimes. Okay? But I realized after a while that things that I had been taught about myself were wrong. And this kind of allowing hate to fester or sponsoring hate to fester, even if somebody doesn't intend any harm, to go about and saying, okay, you just ignore it. You can't just ignore it. If you do that, there are real reasons not to do that. There are hate groups that actually, actually beat people. Sometimes their members actually kill people. And telling the FBI that they can just, oh, maybe this isn't hate. Telling the media, just ignore it. Oh boy. It's just like giving people an accommodation for hate with the insanity defense, which is also a problem. Okay? It's a problem against minority, it's a problem against everybody else's minority. But what do you think those hate groups are going to do? If you tell them they can get away with this, it's just a prank, they can just ignore it. What the heck is going on with that advertisement? For hate propaganda. Somebody's turning a buck off of. That's the really excuse me for cussing, that's the really crappy thing about life in the United States. You can be locked up against your will as a mentally ill person for being upset about hate crime when nobody wants you to. When people want to pretend it doesn't exist, sweep it under the rug, even when people get killed, even when your friends get killed. But if you want to sell hate stuff on the internet, you have First Amendment freedom. You can express yourself as much as you want. People can lock me up because of my ideas, because I don't appreciate hate. Bigots get to sell hate. And I'm sick of it. It's really making me sick. And I'm sorry that it sounds like this lady, when she went there, she was upset at some of the hateful things people did against each other. That doesn't give you right to hate your minority. You're just becoming a victim and a part of the system here. It says swastikas and ifiots were drawn on posters around the school. Activists implied incidents were tied to Black History Month, the final straw. Menacing presence on the campus who allegedly donned a KKK hood and a robe near the segregated black dormitory known as the African Heritage House. Well, if that was just a blanket and they weren't trying to pretend they were the Ku Klux Klan, that's a different story. But I think a website selling hate material for the Ku Klux Klan, that's got to be something real. what do you say about how this has affected other people like you down on the bottom? You say, in 2006 I went to Oberlin to confront the campus with hate crime hoax phenomenon. As I told the students back then, liberals see racism where it doesn't exist, fabricate it when they can't find it, and ignore it within their own ranks. I documented case after case of phony racism by students and faculty from Ole Miss, Arizona State to Claremont and McKenna. Don't know anything about that, okay? And contrasted it with the virile prejudice that tolerant lefties have for minorities who stray from the political plantation. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about here. But yeah, hate is real, and this is definitely a real example of hate. It says your response back then, response from students of color, they took offense, of course, and characterized my speech as self-hating hate. Just as their coddling and college elders have taught them to do. She says, I repeat, mixed identity politics, cultural studies, cowardly administrators, and biased media, and you've got a toxic recipe for opportunistic hate crime hoaxes? What part of hurt don't you understand? I'm sorry. But for some of us, it's real. And when you bring it up, it's real. And you never know when it's gonna be real. This person who confessed to killing Johanna Justin Jenich we didn't know anything about him where she died. He had stalked her for months. He had harassed her before. He tracked her through the internet. You might call everything hoaxes or pranks or what have you, but there's a point at which it does become real. And threats are not okay. So I would ask these people to love themselves, love their minorities, take harm seriously, so that people don't die. Please. Please. Please don't let people die. Because you don't want to face that hate is real. That it still is real. Thanks.